It all started on a rainy afternoon. Ethan was bored at his grandmother's old house. The rain tapped against the windows like tiny drums. He had already read all the books on the shelf. He had played with every board game in the closet. "Grandma," he called out, "is there anything fun to do here?" His grandmother smiled gently. "Why don't you explore the attic?" she suggested. "But be careful. It's very old and dusty." Ethan's eyes lit up. An attic? That sounded interesting. He grabbed a flashlight and went upstairs. The attic was dark and filled with cobwebs. Old boxes were stacked in the corners. A broken rocking chair sat under the window. Dust floated in the air like tiny ghosts. Ethan sneezed loudly. "Wow, this place hasn't been touched in years," he whispered. He began opening boxes one by one. Most of them were filled with old books and photos. Then, behind a large wardrobe, he noticed something odd. A wooden panel on the wall looked different. It didn't match the rest of the attic. Curious, he knocked on it. The sound was hollow. His heart beat faster. He pushed gently on the panel. It creaked open. Behind it was a small door. A hidden room. Ethan could hardly believe it. He aimed his flashlight into the darkness. "Hello?" he called. No answer. Slowly, he stepped inside. The room was small and quiet. It had no windows. The air smelled old and dry. There was a wooden desk in the corner. On top of it lay a dusty notebook. Ethan picked up the notebook and opened it. The handwriting was neat and elegant. It was dated 1943. "This must be really old," he said aloud. The pages were filled with stories and drawings. But they weren't just any stories. They were stories about spies and secret messages. Some pages even had codes written on them. Ethan was fascinated. Who wrote this? Why hide it? He turned to the last page. There was a drawing of the house. A red X marked the attic. Underneath it said, "The truth lies where light and shadow meet." Ethan reread the sentence. What did it mean? He looked around the room again. A small mirror hung on the wall. The light from his flashlight hit the mirror. A beam bounced onto the opposite wall. That wall had strange markings. They looked like symbols. Maybe a code? Ethan used the notebook to match the symbols with letters. It took a while, but he finally decoded the message. It read, "Behind the clock, time stands still." He ran back into the attic. There was an old grandfather clock by the stairs. He examined it carefully. The hands didn't move. "Time stands still," he repeated. He reached behind the clock. His fingers touched the latch. Click! A compartment opened. Inside was a small wooden box. He opened the box slowly. Inside was a silver key. Tied to it was a note. "For those who seek the truth, this is the first step." Ethan was shaking with excitement. What did the key open? He searched the hidden room again. In the corner beneath a rug, he found a small trap door. It had a keyhole. He inserted the key. It fit perfectly. He turned it. The trapdoor creaked open. A wooden ladder led down into darkness. Ethan hesitated for a second. But he had come too far to stop now. He climbed down slowly. The space below was cold and quiet. It was a hidden cellar. The walls were lined with bookshelves. But these weren't ordinary books. They had symbols on the covers. Some were written in different languages. In the center of the room was a table. A single candle sat in the middle. Ethan lit it. The room filled with a soft glow. On the table was a letter. It was addressed to the next seeker. Ethan opened it and began to read. The letter spoke of a secret society, a group of people who protected knowledge. They hid books, maps, and secrets all over the world. And now it was Ethan's turn. His mission to continue the legacy, to protect the secrets from those who would misuse them. The letter ended with a final message. The world needs dreamers who search for more. Ethan smiled. The rainy day had turned into the greatest adventure of his life. He closed the trapdoor behind him and kept the notebook close. A mystery had begun, and Ethan was ready. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the hidden room and the cellar. He opened the notebook again in bed. There were drawings of old maps. Symbols marked special locations. One page had a riddle, "Where books sleep and dust lives, follow the path of knowledge." "That sounds like the library," Ethan whispered. The next morning, he went back to the attic. The cellar door was still open. He climbed down and studied the shelves more closely. Each shelf had a number. Shelf 1 had books about science. Shelf 2 had books about magic. Shelf 3 had books about history. On shelf 4, a red book caught his eye. It had no title, just a symbol of an owl on the cover. He opened it. Inside, there was only one sentence. "The owl sees all when the moon is full." "Another clue," he said. That evening, the full moon rose. Ethan waited until everyone was asleep. He returned to the attic and entered the hidden room. The moonlight came in through the attic window. It reflected off the mirror, but this time it hit a different spot on the floor. The floorboard glowed faintly. Ethan rushed over and tapped it. It was loose. He lifted it up. Underneath was another box. This one was made of metal. It had a strange lock, shaped like an owl. Ethan remembered the owl book. He placed the book into a nearby slot. The lock opened. Inside was a journal and a photograph. The photo showed a man in a long coat, standing in front of the house. On the back of the photo, it said, "Arthur Gray, 1942. Arthur Gray, who is he? Ethan wondered. He brought the journal to his grandmother the next morning. "Grandma, do you know who Arthur Gray is?" Her eyes widened. "Oh my, I haven't heard that name in years. He was your great-granduncle. He disappeared during the war. He was very smart, a bit of an inventor. Loved puzzles." "Did he live here?" Ethan asked. "Yes, this was his home once. We always thought he left suddenly and never came back." Ethan told her everything he found. His grandmother was shocked. "That hidden room, I never knew it existed." "You must be very careful, Ethan. Some secrets are powerful." "I understand," Ethan replied. Over the next few weeks, Ethan studied the journal. It was filled with stories about inventions and hidden knowledge. One entry spoke of a machine that could store light and memory. Another page had a map of the town. Several spots were circled. Ethan marked the locations on his own map. The first was the library. He visited it and looked in the oldest section. In the back corner, he found a dusty globe. He spun it and heard a click. A drawer popped open from the wall. Inside was a metal object, a gear with initials AG. "Arthur Gray," Ethan said. He visited all the marked spots. In the bakery's basement, under an old oven, he found another piece. In the town's bell tower, hidden behind a brick, was a third piece. Each gear was different. All seemed to connect together. Finally, hit all 6 gears. Back in the hidden cellar, he found a machine under a dusty tarp. It looked like an old projector with wires and levers. A note was carved into the wood. "Complete the circle to reveal the past." Ethan inserted the gears one by one. They clicked into place. The machine whirred to life. A soft hum filled the room. Lights danced across the walls. Images appeared, moving images. Arthur Gray's voice echoed through a speaker. "If you're hearing this, you are the future of the seekers. Protect knowledge. Share it wisely, use it kindly. You are not alone. Others will come." The voice faded. Ethan stood in silence. He felt proud, inspired, and ready. The mystery had become a mission. From a rainy afternoon to a hidden legacy, everything had changed. He closed the trapdoor for the last time. But he kept the notebook, the key, and the gears. One day he would pass them on, because stories don't end. They continue in those brave enough to follow them.